Well met, Paladins, this video marks the beginning of Building of Worlds here on YouTube. I will be releasing my world building process with different people one step at a time. The first world will be one made with my friend and fellow streamer Wolp, check him out by the way, link in the description. The working title for this world is Shintolympus, and we are going to start off where every world starts off, the high concept. Let's get into it. So, the concept, you specifically at the start said that the high concept you wanted to go with was a blending of Greek and Roman stuff as well as like Japanese stuff, right?
Yeah. And
from there, you gave me one more piece of information, which was you wanted everybody to be a demigod, right?
Yes.
So, there's a lot to unpack with that. But first and foremost, what's the population like?
You mean like, give me an example of like high population versus like low population.
So like, okay, let me phrase it this way. Is this a situation like My Hero Academia where you still just have a ton of people, but now they just have superpowers? Or is this more like, we have this world and there's not that many people on it because the only people that are new are born from gods?
I think I like there being a ton of people, like a ton of people. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going the route where we just have a ton of people, but everyone's super, so nobody's super. That type of a thing.
Yeah. Where it's like, okay, maybe depending on where like a story would take place, you would be like, I mean, I guess there were like tribes of people who used to be from a certain demigod, but as it goes on, it kind of gets a lot less like diminished, and everyone at some point it's just like, oh, I have these powers because I'm from this person.
Yeah. I think we'll get more into the development of a base pantheon in a minute here, because I think building a strong pantheon, or at least a strong template of which we can like create gods, in an easy fashion. I think that's going to be pretty important to this, because like region so far matters a lot less than divine origin in this type of world building, I think. Of course, we'll still get into region and everything. We'll make our world map. We'll probably just do that super quickly with Wonder Draft. So population, normal, large and expansive. Okay, so we have that aspect. So I feel like most people know plenty about like how Greek gods are, right? It's always like, this is Zeus, the god of the gods, and they wield their lightning and all of that, and then you have like Hades, god of the underworld. They are, the soul keeper of sorts. When people die, that's where their souls go, and Hades watches over them, etc. Do you know much about Japanese theology?
Not exactly, other than like what animes taught me about like I like the demons and stuff inside of
the yokai and whatnot. Yeah.
So, and then
I've done some research specifically on yokai, but also specifically on Shinto and a little bit on Zen Buddhism. I think you might find this really interesting about Shinto. So, you know how it's like in most places with religions and whatnot, it's like a large chunk of people will say they follow this religion, but like a much smaller percent of them will actually like go out to a place of worship and do like religious acts. It's the exact opposite for Shinto. Very few people in Japan would say that they follow like the religion of Shinto, but the vast majority will go out and perform like these Shinto rituals. Like the whole like you've seen I imagine everybody that watches anime has seen some show with a scene where they go to a summer festival, so they go up to the temple and they wear their nice yukata. They go to all the food stalls and they get their blessings and all of that. That is all Shinto. So Shinto is a lot less in the beliefs. They don't like the Shinto priest and whatnot. They typically won't care about what you believe. It's all about what you do, right? That's so it's a lot more like Shinto is in your actions and how you do certain things. Like purification is a very big one. And then like other religions are a lot more on what you believe in. So because of that, Shinto really acts as like a complement to Buddhism. So it's like Shinto is really the perfect vehicle to drive into other theisms to set up house, you know?
I see. So like not necessarily people worshipping like the demigod that they come from as much as doing the things that kind of like their culture like maps out for them, you know?
I'm not quite sure how we're going to drive it into here. Because I definitely think I guess what I'm saying is for the worship of these gods and demigods that everybody hails from, right? And that's another interesting thought, because we're going to have to make a pantheon of gods and then a list of demigods and then followers of these demigods is what it sounds like we're going to have to do. So what I'm seeing here is where you're going to need to make the following of these demigods something very seeded into the society and something very ritualistic. And in doing so, like, and adding like, these just super common, like, oh yeah, of course you go to the shrine to pay your respects to our demi founder, And yes, of course you cover yourself in sand before you visit them. That's only respectful. What do you mean? That's common knowledge. Like stuff like that. I think that's going to be a nice subtle blending that we can do. But I think specifically the more interesting thing that we want to take from this as well is like the yokai, right?
Yes.
So what's your opinion on just yokai in general? Because yokai has influenced a lot of media.
I mean, I think they're cool. I think they look like the ones that are fought are really cool, and like I guess like the spirits that do, because like yes.
yeah, I get you.
I mean, but like what? Because I know that in some like Greek mythology, like a lot of the monsters were because like the gods decided to like a horse or something like that. So then you got like this weird horse monster that now wreaks havoc on the town. What is yokai origin compared to like that?
So that's a really tricky question. For the long and short of it, yokai were really used to explain any phenomenon that you couldn't typically just find an answer for before the widespread knowledge of science. For example, if you look at lightning, right? There is a yokai called a Raiju, and that is like the incarnation of lightning. Because they couldn't explain lightning, it was commonly thought that like lightning storms and things like that were the rage of Raiju, which were like these lightning dogs. Fun fact, it's also what the Zinogre is based on from Monster Hunter.
My favorite monster.
It's a good one. It's a good one. It's very regal. But like, and much like the way Raiju are seen, there's a whole thing about that. Gaijin Goomba has a great video on the origins of the Zinogre. He has a great series on yokai stuff. I don't know if he still updates it or not, but it's out there. Anyways, so it's just sort of like it's just a lot of folklore, a lot of rumors that just sort of really caught on and things like that. Like, for example, there's one that like, and they range in severity too. There's one that like, if an umbrella reaches 99 years old, it'll become a yokai, and it'll just like grow an eyeball, and its handle will turn into a leg so it can move around. Sometimes they have arms and stuff like that, and they just try to scare you and then like run away and laugh about it.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
yeah, there's, you know, and then that's also where like the Yuki Onna comes from, you know, the whole image of like this beautiful woman that only shows up in a blizzard to lure people into the blizzard and basically just watch them freeze to death, those things. So it's just, there's just a lot of yokai, and yokai is just like this super vague term for just monster stories.
Yeah.
And like, there's good ones, you know, there's good ones, there's evil ones, there's allies to mankind and villains and all that. So there's a lot of flexibility, and it's pretty easy to apply it to things, I think, because of its nature of origin. So now that we have that knowledge cemented between us, let's actually do some world building.
Got it.
Hey everyone, Post-Elric again. I hope you enjoyed that cementing of the high concept. The next video will be on making a pantheon. Be sure not to miss it. I record these based on the availability of my guests, so if you want to know when the next one is, the dates for the Twitch streams are announced on my Discord as well as on my Twitter. Be sure to follow Wolp as well. All of the links will be below in the description. Until next time, I am Sir Elric, and I hope your journeys are well.